Hello friends, I am Rob, and this is a kind of a cardboard unboxing video. You see, this was an unexpected surprise today. In the time of crowdfunding and Kickstarters and things, sometimes you can have releases that you lose track of, especially if they take over a year to fulfill. Now, sometimes, of course, they can enrapture you with constant updates about how the project is going, communication with the developers and all that. But not all things that are dressed up as Kickstarters really are Kickstarters. And I'm using Kickstarter as the most broad term, whether you use Indiegogo or, whatever. Kickstarter is just usually the one that has to do with making a product come to life. Well, other people besides dreamers and indie folks have been using Kickstarters and things that are dressed up like Kickstarters. And one of the ones that did that was Hasbro. Now, it blows my mind continuously that these companies think that this is a thing they need to do. I mean, I think the format is really special to give those indie folks a chance. This basically just is a pre-order when you do it this way. But it was still a product that got me very excited a year ago. So for Father's Day, for myself, I purchased this, and I forgot about it. It's true. So when my loving wife told me that I had a package, I thought it might be something else. No, the package that I got was a large box like this from Avalon Hill, owned by Hasbro. And I, for the life of me, couldn't remember what this was until I took a closer look. So, without further ado, let's see what's in here. All right, let us take a look, shall we? Packing. Where's the cat? Since I got this box, my cat has been eyeballing me, so she's going to be around, I have a feeling. And cardboard protecting, yes. And cardboard filler, yes. Gotta say, the packing is good. And then, what do we get? Aha! We got the HeroQuest game system. Now, this is quite a bit different from the original. The art is definitely a callback to that original art from the golden days when I believe it was Milton Bradley did a crossover with Games Workshop. And this was basically their HeroQuest was cast in the world of Warhammer 40k. Even though they never really mentioned it, they used characters directly out of Warhammer 40k. So your Chaos Warriors were Chaos Warriors of Warhammer. Your Orcs looked like proper Orcs with a K. So the box looked like that, but it was only about 2/3 as thick. If I had thought ahead, I would have probably grabbed the original, but you've seen it. We've shown it off before. So, unfortunately, I never found the expansions for Warhammer. I'm sure they exist, but they're so expensive. So, also, because this was a Kickstarter-like thing, there were bonuses, of course. Now, I believe Hasbro made over $4, $5, maybe $6 million on this because HeroQuest is a much-loved game from the past. A lot of people were excited to see this come back to life. So, as a result, there was a lot of people backing it, which meant stretch goals. So we have this, which is mythic contents, hero miniatures, monster miniatures, more combat dice, game cards, character cards. Heroic contents, 5 miniatures, 4 cards. So, pretty cool stuff. I do remember one of the things they did was, if you had ever seen the old HeroQuest, you knew that it had things like furniture and dungeon dressings. But they were a hodgepodge of plastic pieces that came on a sprue, you take apart, and cardboard pieces that you would fit into the plastic pieces. And it would make pretty nice dungeon dressings, honestly. Far more than what you usually expect from any kind of a board game, which is another thing that helped to make it really evocative. So I know that Keller's Keep Quest Pack, that has the expansions that they were launching with, and this is the Return of the Witch Lord Quest Pack. So we're going to take a look at what came here, and I will give this box over to my cat, and she will love it. If she's around. So, what do you get in the modern remake of HeroQuest? That's an excellent question, and one which I shall answer forthwith. Alright. So the first thing, we go to the main box.
Tape.
Yes, indeed. Okay. I could gouge my nails to get this box tape off, but I have a very sharp knife, so, which is good for that, even if it makes my wife fret. And it is well box taped up, but the tape is not the equal to my knife. Alright, so let's look at the box first of all. On the back of the box, it says, "The quest continues." So they acknowledge that this is a sequel game, which is good. I always believe that in remakes, it's important to remember where you came from, and this is good. In this exciting fantasy adventure game, you and your fellow players must work together to battle the evil sorcerer Zardon and complete the quests. Yep. Cheesy name and everything, but it's kind of the warm, fuzzy glow that this gives. Playing the hero roles of the Barbarian, the Dwarf, the Elf, or the Wizard. You'll all move cautiously throughout a labyrinth of eerie, dark dungeons. Ghastly monsters will prowl the underground passages far below the surface of the known world. Zargon's deadly forces threaten, but wise mentor has taught you well. Find the treasure and make it out safely, or all perish together. So, there are 70 plus detailed miniatures and the heroes. Stunning artwork. For many years the land has been at peace. The darkness that once threatened to engulf it is forgotten, but the darkness was not destroyed, merely banished, and now it gathers strength once more, and an ancient evil stirs in the depths of the earth. The land has need of heroes, for without them we are doomed. Okay, so let's take a look again at the back. These are the heroes. These are the monsters. The board looks pretty darn familiar. The original game board, it looks pretty close to what the original was like. Complete with doorways and furniture. Although now the furniture looks like it's all been either molded or 3D printed off. So now there's no plastic to fold it together. And it has the screen you can see here that should have all the stats and everything that you need. And all the cards for the spells and monsters and combat dice. Yeah. That's the stuff. Now my copy of HeroQuest is a little battered. It's been played numerous times. It'll be nice to give it a fresh look. So, what do we have here? And also, of course, I would be fairly surprised if they went too far off the script. The two games may actually have some levels of compatibility, which is exciting in itself. Alright, so first thing that we find is this, which is a sleeve that covers a plastic tray, which I'm suspecting is where the miniatures are lying. And I would be right, at least some of them. Alright, now, first of all, we have the heroes. We have the Wizard with his big moon staff. The pose is fairly close to how the Wizard was posed before. Arm's a little more crooked because he was casting a spell, but he had his staff. The top of my staff broke off of my original piece. This looks like this plastic is a lot more durable, which is good to see. Made of good plastic, not garbage. And then we have the Barbarian with his sword. Ah, always a good Conan knockoff, I think. So he's pretty solid. No, that is not. That is not. That is an elf, actually. I didn't look at the ears closely enough. I was led to understand that because the Barbarian has this huge sword. He's got a big old broadsword and much bigger rippling muscles, and he's not wearing a cloak. He is all muscly, barbarianish. And then we have the Dwarf. The Dwarf has a huge axe to compensate, but it's a good Dwarf miniature. The molding on these is excellent. The detail is very fine. Much better than the original, I would say. Even though Games Workshop is known as a company that makes miniatures, the quality of those old pieces weren't the best. They weren't bad by any stretch of the imagination, but these have an intricacy and a detail that exceeds them, I would say. Alright, so the Gargoyle. He's gone places. This is a much more sinister looking gargoyle, and the gargoyle before was pretty nasty too, with a huge pole axe in one hand and a large curved falchion in the other, with the wings and the somewhat demonic looking figure. Yeah, he is definitely a creature that will take some doing to contend with. So that's a plus. The Chaos Warriors before, they had a helm that met in a ball above their heads. They wore big blocky armor with huge pauldrons in that. They've been reimagined because they aren't the same Chaos Warriors anymore. Hasbro made this. Do you think Games Workshop will work with one of their competitors? No. No, they didn't. So what Hasbro just did was they cut all of the old mentions of Chaos, trademark, Games Workshop, and now they've reimagined them, and yeah, this looks pretty awesome with this massive mace. Probably maybe a little impractically large mace, but they're supposed to be really tough. And a nice shield, and they're actually in a good pose, defensive and getting ready to smite somebody. So this is a really nice reimagining of the figure. And there are a couple of them in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of them, each of them with their large mace and shields. As I remember right, I think there were 4 in the original set too, so that's cool. Then we've got Fishmen. I don't know what their actual term is, but these look like these could be some of the baddest ass Kuo-toa ever. They've got this nice looking kind of a, almost say it's a poleaxe with a spike to it, but it's kind of like a cross between a poleaxe and a trident in its own way. It's a bident, I guess, because it's got two heads to it. It's an interesting weapon that looks pretty cool with this larger figure. So that's pretty nice. Then, of course, you've got big creatures, but you need smaller creatures too. This looks like some sort of a I think we need to pull forth my spectacles so I can pick out the details. This is a dark warrior of some sort with a nasty chopper. And, it's nice to have a step from the Chaos Warrior to somebody who's not quite as all-out armored. I'm fine with that, absolutely. I'm thinking that this is an orc. The orc also has a nice big choppa. Oh, that's something I did not see then. Oh yeah, could be some sort of a dark Amazon. She is wearing a breastplate that is showing off that she is a female type. But yes, he looks like a tough orc that is not a caricature, kind of like the Games Workshop orcs. All have that big square head and a massive underbite jaw, and he looks pretty nice. Some of these are really set in here well, though. Take a little bit of doing to get out of the plastic molding. But there's no danger of them shifting in shipping, that's for sure. Looks like these also might be orcs with axes. Now, the original HeroQuest game had orcs and goblins with different weapons and slightly different poses. That may very well be what they did here. Matter of fact, I would hope it is. It's kind of cool. Then we have a goblin, and he kind of looks like a Pathfinder goblin, honestly, with his own little chopper. A very nice little goblin figurine. And if you remember, I think I mentioned down here, HeroQuest, as well as other board role-playing games, formed a lot of the foundation of my early miniature collecting. These figures are all ready to go for use as miniatures in a role-playing game. Sure, here's a goblin with a little sword. Looks like he's just getting ready to shank somebody with that. Here's another callback figure, the skeleton. The HeroQuest skeleton had a scythe. Not the most practical of weapons, but, you know, they're dead. They don't care. The beggars can't be choosers. He's holding a similar pose, but the modeling is so much nicer. Beautiful figurine. And then we have a mummy. Mummies are fearsome creatures in this game. Very tough, high damaging. This is a nice mummy mold. And then we have a zombie with a shield and sword approach. His head kind of cocked because he's, well, dead. But all the undead are white. That could be telling of a new game mechanic, maybe. But definitely cool. And then we have another Amazonian type. And she is carrying a large mace, much like the Chaos Warriors were, but no shield. So maybe the Chaos Warriors are now just possibly their equal opportunity. And now there are ladies fighting alongside the forces of Chaos. I don't know. But there's two of her in here. And then there is Zardon, the wizard, the Chaos Sorcerer. Again, not sure if I think if I remember right, they struck Chaos out for darkness, which is fine. It's all very well generic, but a beautiful mold. He looks absolutely dark, sinister, and in a pose that tells him he's going to mess you up. Now we have red dice for combat, 2 of those, and we have the combat dice. I remember the old combat dice were wooden, I think. These are not, so they should stay true longer. You've got the black face, which means if you roll that for the monsters, that means they deflect a point of damage. The white shield, which if your heroes roll that on a defensive roll, means they deflect a point of damage. And the skulls, which mean if you're on offense, that inflicts a point of damage. So there are 6 of these dice in here, and I think with the expansion that I got, there may be more to come. Then, after that, we have another sleeve, which is covered. But before we get to that, because I kind of want to put some stuff down, and I see the board here. I want to open this up. The original board was pretty decently sized. Small table it would not fit on comfortably. This one, true to form. Nice big board. And a number of people, myself included, at more than one point, use these for role-playing games. I mean, it's a nice grid. The rooms kind of lend themselves to, exploration. And with the different pieces, you can, wall off different areas and let people know that, a corridor sometimes is just a corridor, and sometimes it's a major trunk that leads to other rooms. Okay. What's the bottom of the box? That is a spacer. Interesting. Alright, so then we also have very, very well wrapped for shipping. My compliments to Hasbro on their quality of their shipping. Nothing twitched. I guarantee it. My cat might like those. We've got all of the punch-out pieces. I love the smell of fresh print in the morning. But these stone ones are used to block off corridors to make it clear that it's a dead end or just a curve in the corner. This is the stairs going down, showing that that's the target of where you're going. Or stairs going up. Got that too. And not 100% certain what all these other tokens are for. These are damage tokens, telling you that's what you put on a creature when you've damaged them to show they've been hurt. And rockfall and pit traps. Yeah, because those are mechanics that are in this game too. You've got the rule book. This is much smaller than the original rule book was, I think. But, the art is beautiful. Now, there was kind of a nostalgic beauty to the original art, too. It had that kind of something I always associate with British game books, that particular art style. This is going for more just beautiful art, which Hasbro has on tap. No questions there. And then the quest book, which tells you the layouts for the various adventures and spells out the missions that you can do to progress through the story. And just perusing them really quickly, it looks like these were co-opted from the original adventure. So I'm fairly familiar with a lot of those, and they look like they've preserved them here pretty faithfully. The screen, they've got it so that it tilts back a bit, and it actually works really well. The arms on that are a little short, so this is kind of a little, you want a good secure table for that. But again, it has the rules for the game on the back and summaries for the monster stats. Everything you need as a game master, as Zardon, the adversary. So yes, that's all in there, and it is very good. I will put these pieces back before we find out what's in the next sleeved thing. Actually, I'm going to leave the rules and the screen on the top, because we'll be looking at those too. Alright, so then, okay, take this off, and, oh yes. First of all, the character sheets. There is a thick pad of character sheets here. This is a lot. And I know you can get these, you can get replacements for them too. They're still printing them now. These look exactly like the old ones. Excellent quality. Very cool. Something that you do need as you play these games. You've got the decks with all of the different cards. I'm not going to open them up now, but these are going to have monster cards with the stats for the monsters. The players can see what the monster stats are, so they kind of have a clue as to how much trouble they might be in or how easy a monster is to roll. Probably the most important cards, though, are the treasure cards, which may be a trap when you search for treasure, but the treasure is darn nice to have. And the spell cards, which the wizard and the elf end up using to give them an edge in the game, and can be very, very important to swing a battle one way or the other. So these are, fresh print. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Alright, so we've got a whole sleeve of doors, open doorways, to show how to get in and around. They're fine. I have any number of 3D doors, but having more all in the pack is kind of nice, so no problems there. we have... we have 2 bookshelves. These are, again, very detailed, very nicely printed. You can see the individual books inside. Yeah, it looks really, really nice. The back has got its wood grain and everything, and there's 2 of these. Then there is a cabinet with some nice doors on it. Do not recall... Yeah, I think there was one in the original too. There was only 1 bookshelf though, so already we've got more, which is good. And remember, the quests all use individual pieces of the furniture. They tell you where everything ends up going so that you can lay out the dungeon the way the quest wants you to, which is great. We have... Oh! Interesting. We have the Sarcophagus. And there was one of those in the original. And it opens. It has a lid. So, I don't know if you could stuff a character in there. Probably not. Not with the base. But that's really nicely detailed. Looks great. We have one of my favorites. The Fireplace. Now again, a solid 3D plastic model. Looks good. Begs to be painted, really. And it's got either you can call it a mirror on the back of it, or a picture if you want to do a little painting. I think I just painted silver as a mirror, though. But it's got the 2 knights on either side of the actual opening for the fire. Really looks nice. Nice detail, nice work. One thing every adventurer's heart skips a beat on: chests. These have a sinister monster mouth for the lock of it, which would be kind of discouraging a little bit, but yeah, they're solid chests. Nice little piece of kit there, certainly. And then, oh boy, I'm not going to prize them out, but there are little plastic rats. And there are little sprues of little plastic skulls. I'll pull one of these out. These allow you to customize the various pieces, so you can put skulls where you want. If the originals, for instance, had skulls on the tops of the bookshelf or the desk, this would allow you to do that if you wish to do that. I don't know that I will, because I kind of hate to break this all up. And I think if you put these skulls and glue them onto something like your... If you glued them onto your desk, it would make it awfully hard to put it back into the plastic, I think. So I don't see me doing that. But we'll see. Maybe someday. And this is the desk. Back in the day, the desk was 2 pieces, and mine always kept coming off. There was the scales that sit on the top. Now it's all 1 piece of molded plastic. And again, these could be fun to paint. Furniture's fun to paint. Usually it's just 1 color. You swatch over everything, and then you can make tiny details and a nice ink wash, and it can look really good, even if you're not particularly skilled, as I am really not. Tables. A couple of tables in here. They serve perfectly well as tables, but they don't like to go back, it seems. Okay. And then okay. There is the rack. The original had the rack too. Now it's all 1 molded piece of plastic again, so instead of cardboard. Again, kind of begs to be painted to make it look even more sinister, but nasty torture implement, certainly. Again, gets your characters knowing that, yeah, things are about to get real if you find torture chests and stuff. This is the altar with 2 large candles and a book. Again, richly detailed. This is obviously a signature piece throughout the storyline. And this would also beg to have a few skulls attached too. You know, if you really wanted to make it completely unsubtle. And why go for subtlety in something like this, honestly? And then finally, there's a weapons rack. A couple weapons, a shield. Looks good, and generally is a prompt for your players to go searching that room, because there's probably something there for them to find that might, you know, be in that. And that's the contents of the basic box. I believe this is going to be retailing in stores for $75 or so. So, yeah, pretty good buy. Like I said, all these miniatures. And I didn't pull out every single one of the miniatures. I just pulled out one example of them. So there's enough that you will have, say, 6 goblins, 6 orcs, 4 of the Chaos Warriors, 2 of the Lady Chaos Warriors, of one pose to another, Zardon, the 4 heroes. Very cool. Very cool stuff. But I did back it as a Kickstarter, and Kickstarters mean profit? I know some people who do pretty darn well just selling off the extras from the Kickstarter to people who missed the Kickstarter but still wish they could have gotten it. That generally does more than pay for their entire purchase, because really all I did was pay the base price for this, and all the stuff came with it. So, again, with my trusty little blade to open up the Kickstarter box, that makes this the mythic set, instead of just the reprint. Now, one of the things that was cool, I remember, throughout history, is they were being a little bit more forward in terms of the sentimentalities of the day, and they were going to make, instead of all boys, they're going to make girl versions of the heroes, so that, you know, women can play and feel like they can have their representation as their characters, which I'm kind of happy to see, all in all. So, what do we have here? We have, first of all, we have a couple of room tiles. These could probably be laid over sections of the dungeon, so that even with a basic layout that the board has, you can tweak it even more with this. And I also see something that looks like a gelatinous cube, but it's really, I'm guessing, a pit of acid. Looks like there's a bridge tokens. Those are probably for, again, more hazards. And the back sides of these all have, again, they fully use the tiles on both sides. And those tiles, by the way, they have that film over them that makes them resistant to spillage, so they won't just fall apart when water gets on them. Very nice. That's another example of high quality. We have the Spirit Queen's Torment quest book. So, even beyond these expansions, I still have even more fun to have with this game, which is amazing. We have the Crypt of Perpetual Darkness quest book. Again, pretty darn awesome. And we have the Prophecy of Talor quest book. Now, if I remember right, these were written by guest VIPs. Stephen Baker wrote The Quest of Talor, or Prophecy of Talor. And Joe Manganiello wrote The Crypt of Perpetual Darkness. He's an influencer in the D&D world and his own celebrity in his own right. And Teos Abadia wrote Spirit Queen's Torment. I do not know who Teos is, but again, somebody probably does, and that probably means quite a bit to them, and I have every bit of confidence that they're going to be a lot of fun to play. I am almost salivating at the thought of my family and I hacking dungeons in this game. Should be a lot of fun. So we have this little box here, which we're going to take a look at. I think this is the one with the lay... Oh, maybe it isn't. I don't know. We will see. All right. Ah, yes, indeed. This is really cool. I'm very happy they went and did this. We have the Barbarian reimagined. wearing just a little bit more clothes. Otherwise, this would be a different game altogether. But still that big sword and a bad attitude right on her face. Again, the detailing is excellent on these. We have the wizard. Same pose, just a bit more feminine. Same staff, too. Very nice. We have the elf. Again, same pose. Looks great. Fantastic figure. So. And we have the dwarf. She looks mean. That axe only helps to cement that feeling. And it's a great figure. Then we have this figure. Who I don't recognize, but it's an old man with a torch. So I'm guessing that's going to be an important person for one of the missions. I know that one of the characters early on in the storylines, you had to rescue somebody. And all of them have their own art cards too, by the way, so that you can see what your ladies look like, which is excellent. Excellent, excellent. But yes, you had a target to rescue, and that may be what that figure is. I don't know. But I'm not going to speculate at this point. I'm just showing you how cool all of these different things are. So if you yourself are looking for a game, and you happen to see this on the counter, you know what's in it, and you know if it's a buy that you personally want to make or you want to go looking for. Which is why I do these videos. Alright, so we have more cards. Cards are good. I'm guessing those are going to be for monsters in the new set, but you know what, since there are fewer of them, I'm just going to take a look real quick. This will also show you an example of how good the art is for this. Oh! We have a bard. The bard is... That's quite a look. He's a half-orc bard. There we go. It's good to have more heroes, honestly. The Warlock. Very nice. The Druid. I know somebody who likes Druish ladies. The Wizard. This is more of your typical wizard. The long beard and robes type. But, yeah. And we have some spells. First of all, we have a couple of artifacts. A Crown of Shadows and the Dragon Spear. And the art is a fallback to the old art, which is what I was kind of afraid of. They were going to eschew this art style for a more modern and beautiful look, and no, I love this. It's very good. I'm very happy with that. The Warlocks have their own spells, too, as do Bards. So they have a set of 4 cards. The Warlock has Demon Form. Ooh. Fear. Ooh. Dark Wings. So that's the Warlock's cards. Equipment card, a wand. Yeah, my hands work sometimes when they want to. This is a Warlock only weapon that can zap creatures with a 2-die attack at range, which is cool. The Bard has some spells. 3. Inspiring Tale, Healing Song, and Lullaby. And again, I love, love, love the art direction they went with. And I have a feeling this orc is going to be a lot of fun. So, I'm perfectly fine with fun bards. Give them some personality, give them something. And the Druid. The Druid has her own spells. Life Force, Pixie, and Shapeshift. Now generally their spells are only going to affect them for 1 round or affect something for a single round. I suspect that's going to continue because that's the kind of game that this has. We have a rapier and a dagger as weapons now. So those are kind of cool. I think because I didn't see the before on the riser of the original, it had a shop where you could buy stuff. I think that's all going to be cards now. Now I kind of regret not having looked through the cards deck before, but it's fine. It's fine. So those are the new cards. And we have 6 more combat dice. This is great because that means there's less sharing and swapping. So that's cool. Even with 3 people playing, you're passing around dice all the time. Now you don't need to as much. So that's very cool. Big thumbs up there. All right, we have... they look like zombies again with a big shield this time. Dragging along a sword they're getting ready to whap somebody with. Nice mold, nice look. They might be something else. They might be some advanced undead, specifically for the story, too. But I don't think so. I think they're just different poses, which is good. Just like this. Chaos Warrior. Now with sword instead of big honkin' mace. And the shield's still there. And he still looks like he's going to mess somebody up. Again, beautiful, beautiful mold. All the menace is preserved. It looks good. They have reasonable sized pauldrons instead of the big chunky ones, which for nostalgia I would have kind of liked to see something a little bit closer, but I'm fine with it. And the last thing that was on the whole campaign, the dragon. Yeah. Now he's top heavy as heck. A lot of the plastic is on the top with the actual dragon rather than the thing he's resting on. But I admire the mold because it keeps everything in a vertical base. The dragon doesn't have to be spread all over numerous hexes. He actually be fairly self-contained in this pose. And just the detailing is, of course, excellent. These are just brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. We do have heroes. So they have the Druid again. Interesting, they did not go with both genders for the new classes, but yeah, it's fine. The Bard. The big floppy hat on the half-orc looks hilarious. He's just sitting there singing his heart out, though. He's cool. I could definitely see using that as a player character. So, you know, all these miniatures can be used as such. This is a gargoyle in the more standard pose with all claws and getting ready to rawr somebody. Very nice pose. Very, very nice. We have another evil wizard type. Looks more like a lich. But I have a feeling this figures into one of these stories. And he looks pretty nasty. Zardon would approve. We have... You know, I'm actually... Those 2 that I said before were zombies. They're more skeletal. Because we have some zombies here with kukris. That these are more clearly zombies. They're more fleshed out. So I'm guessing that those skeletons supplement the ones with the scythes. These zombies supplement the ones with the shields and swords. Very nice. And then we have an evil wizard. Again, this white, maybe undead. They seem to be going with that theme. So this might be the spectral spirit queen? Maybe? I don't know. Or maybe the master of the crypt of perpetual darkness. I don't know. The staff is awesome, though. I love the head on that staff. That was classic fantasy, impractical evil wizard staff right there. So good. Okay. And we have a couple of these fine lads, which are, looks like orcs with a maul. Big, huge, heavy hammer. Just waiting to paste somebody with it. But yeah, I believe these are orcs in another pose. So that looks great. 2 of those in here. which is cool. We have little fellow with his hand up, getting ready to lay waste. This is, of course, the Warlock. Cheat! Yes, cheat. She's a Warlock. So, yeah. It's, be interesting to see how those characters play out and how well they balance with the others. I think it'll be, I think it could be a lot of fun. I imagine they might also, as more casting classes, share some of the elemental cards with the other spellcasters of the game, too. And here's the proper wizard with his spellbook. Again, this is a really nice figure. I absolutely love it. Just the detail on it is so good. Down to the runes along the edges of his robe and mantle, and yeah, I mean, just the collar, the spines coming out from the collar, just so good, so good. We have girl mummies. Girl mummies. Nice. I did not have girl mummies before, so now I do, and I am happy. We have potentially girl fishmen. Fish folk. Kind of hard to say, but they got huge jaws. These are the ones that'll come up and shank ya. These don't need sissy bidents. These have their dentures, and they will... But the molds, again, menace and just intimidating as all get out. Beautiful, beautiful. And all as a bonus just because I was in on their campaign, which is cool. And we even have a couple of goblins with punch daggers. You cute and menacing. Not really deadly. The goblins are, you know, wizards can go up and mug them for their lunch money, but looks really good. Really, really nice. So, yeah, all of this together... It's really, you know, when you see those kind of offers and those Kickstarter deals, kind of the hero box, the little one, the girls. Thank you. So I kind of try to keep things together a little bit. When you see those kind of things, you know, sometimes you jump on them. You can get yourself some really nice deals, and that is a case of a deal if I ever saw one. So that is that. So, that by itself, awesome. Absolutely awesome in scope. Now let's look at the expansions real quick. Typically what you find is another quest booklet and a piece of furniture or two and a couple of new monsters. Which, if you're going to use this game as a supplement, because it's a game system, not just a board game, it's a system, to create your own adventures would be something that... Even the original HeroQuest did have a blank map so that you could create your own adventures, which is pretty cool. You could very easily use this and adapt it as a role-playing game. You could even take creatures from other game systems and bring them into this game. Using, say, miniatures like the Dungeons & Dragons WizKids miniatures. All you have to do is figure out how to stat them. That might be something we have to poke into at some point. Return of the Witch Lord. So, a thick adventure pack. Lots of adventures in there, I see. Here we go. More tile overlays. All appropriately grim. My fingers are kind of twitching to pop these out right away, but not yet. Not just yet. But those will be fun. And we have... What do we have here? We have more miniatures. These are more of the undead, as it makes sense. We have 4 more skeletons with the scythes. We have 4 more zombies. Or sorry, 4 more mummies. I'm sorry. 4 more mummies. And we have 4 of the... No, more than 4. Actually, we have a total of 8 more skeletons. Oh my gosh, this is going to be a romp. 8 more skeletons. 4 more of the zombies. And 4 more of the mummies. A couple more doors. This is a closed door, and a rather nasty looking door. And then there's this door as well, which is a very cool looking door. These are, of course, one single piece. They don't open, but yeah, won't hold that against them. And what do we have here in these cards? At the risk of making this video too long, I hope you'll indulge me. We have some more equipment. Things like Potion of Battle, Potion of Dexterity, Potion of Restoration, and a Venom Antidote. Cool. So that's that. And then we have a few artifacts in here. As a matter of fact, a number of artifacts in here. Things like the Anti-Poison Quill, the Armband of Healing, Dust of Disappearance, Magical Throwing Dagger, you know, all kinds of neat stuff. So, and a bunch of spell scrolls. So that, I mean, the quest alone is going to drastically increase how much you get to play with this whole thing. The extra tiles allow you to customize things a bit better. Considering they're all 1-inch tiles, anything you've got that's a dungeon tile, including all those ones that Paizo made, you can use with this setup easily enough. So you can really get a lot of life out of this, and just use the adventure system that the game has. Combat is very fast-paced and easy to do. You know, the movement is a little stilted towards board gaming more than role-playing games, but it wouldn't be very hard to actually run these games as more of a role-playing game than just what you have here. Maybe one day we'll have to take a look at that. If anybody remembers my old Dungeons and Darkness from Massive Darkness, kind of what I was going for. We might have to do that with HeroQuest too. This is Keller's Keep. I believe this is going to be a lot of goblinoids, goblins and orcs mostly. Again, nice thick quest book. We have tiles, including the ghostly hand tile, which looks kind of intimidating. And it's double-sided. So we've got trapdoors and pits and blocked walls and all kinds of good stuff here. Those all get punched out eventually. And, oh, yeah, we've got a lot of figures. We've got 4 Fishmen with their bident. These, I think, are the replacement for the Famir. Famir were one-eyed creatures that were quite tough in a fight, and I think these Fishmen are going to take their place. So we've got 3 of them in here. We've got the Lady Warriors with the choppers. I'm sure there's a story element that goes into them. I'm almost positive of it. There's the orcs with axes. Getting ready to take a big old swing. There's your goblins with dagger and, nope, blowguns, I believe. Little blowgun. Nice. Goblins have some real menace. So there's 2 with the blowguns, and there's 2 with the little stabby swords. Little stabby sword. And yeah, characters do get killed by goblins sometimes, especially the dice go south on you. They're not the scariest, but you should not underestimate them too much. And then looks like an orc with a orc female with a large mace, I'm guessing. These may be more unique characters for the storyline. I don't know. I hope so. That'd be cool. Oh, there's 2 more goblins. These are the goblins with the cleavers. So, and that is what you find in here. The cards. Let's see what's in there. We have equipment, more equipment. 4 more pieces of equipment. That is Potion of Battle, Potion of Dexterity, Potion of Restoration, Venom Antidote, same ones that were in the other. And then the artifacts are things like the Fire Ring, Magical Throwing Dagger, always inflicts 1 point of damage when thrown at a monster a hero can see. The monster can't defend. The dagger is lost once it's thrown. So it's good for zap 1 point of damage. And a number of spell scrolls. Very good, very good. Each one of the spell scrolls has a particular spell on it. So you can cast that spell using the spell scroll. Does it say crumbles to dust after it is used? Doesn't say that only wizards or elves can use, or warlocks or whoever can use it. So maybe it's a way that your other characters can use a little bit of magic in the course of their adventures. But that is what came in the Kickstarter. So lots of miniatures, including nice horde quantities of undead, goblins, and orcs. Who doesn't need that? I mean, that's just a nice bonus on there to have really nice molds for all these characters. You've got some that will work just fine for hero characters in a role-playing game. And the HeroQuest system has always been a pretty rugged one. Yeah, it's not intricate. Your characters are fairly two-dimensional. They attack, they defend, or they cast spells. But it actually does help to have a sense of expanding the world, opening up doors at a time, the thrill of discovery, the panic of finding monsters that are too tough for you, and, you know, working together in a cooperative way to try to solve the problems of an adventure. And now we have finally new classes that are available, which could add a new element to the game, certainly. And, yeah, we'll have to get on to how that works out when we've got a chance to play it, which will be coming up very soon. But that's HeroQuest, the modern HeroQuest as produced by Hasbro, so hopefully you enjoyed that. And if you do, feel free to like and subscribe. We'll always be showing off more stuff as we gather it. But this has been a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to running some of this for the family and for my friends. So until next time, thank you. I'm Rob, and this has been another cardboard unboxing video. Until next time, farewell.